By now, we have already seen several powerful workflows of how to use our agents, commands, and voice features inside Tana. Now in this lesson, we will see a more advanced way of capturing voice memos in Tana and transcribing them in multiple languages. This can be very useful for you if you're constantly working in more than one language, or if you're using terms from English or from another language whilst recording your voice memos in your native language, for example. So for this, we are going to use this example of a speaking practice where we will be speaking or trying to speak in the target language, and for any words that we do not know how to say, we can default to saying them in English, and then AI is going to understand both of these languages and save that into one consolidated transcript. Then, as you can see in our next command here, we are going to correct and evaluate our speaking practice by using our language tutor agent to explain to us what are the words that we did not know how to speak in our target language. So let's get started here, and I want to go straight into this configuration for the multi-language transcribe, because we are going to use this command on the voice memos that we've already seen throughout this module. So let's first look at this command and then record a voice memo to extract the transcript using these different languages. Here in the multi-language transcribe, we are again using this familiar transcribe audio system command. But this time, when we click edit configuration, you will see that we have made some changes. Usually we were just specifying the target node for this transcription. But now we are using these other two parameters, which is the transcription prompt and the transcription language. And this is where we will specify the languages that we want to use in this transcription. So here we can select multiple languages in the transcription language parameter. And in this case, I chose Italian and English because these are the two languages that I will be using in this example. So in your case, you might delete and remove Italian and add any other language here, which is the one that you are using for this module. So let's get back to Italian. And now let's talk about this transcription prompt. So this is a super simple explanation of what we expect from this command. So here we are explaining that the following text is a mixture of Italian and English, and we are also indicating that the primary language here is Italian, and the words that I don't know are going to be mentioned in English. This is everything we need to do for this transcribe audio command, but do make sure that in the transcription language field, we have the two values for the languages that you will be using, as this will help a lot when we are processing our voice capture. Now let's move on and let's capture our voice memo in order to test this command. So for this, I'm going to use the start voice capture from the desktop. So you might remember that to run the voice capture from the desktop, we should open the command line. And here we are going to run the command called capture voice memo. If you type in voice, this should appear here. And when we click this, we will start capturing a voice recording. So I'm going to run this and I'm going to start speaking a phrase in Italian. And if I don't remember any words, I will switch to English. So I will be using these two languages now. Io sono imparando a parlare italiano. Amo questa language, es very beautiful, and I want to parlare molto bene, to take a trip to Italia y conocer the country. Okay. Let's stop. So let's stop this recording now. And as you've seen, I've mixed Italian and English. Now we see our voice memo appearing. It's usually sent over to the inbox whenever we capture it from the desktop. So we can move to our inbox here. Here is our voice memo. And now we are going to do the same process that we did in a previous lesson, and that is to move this voice memo to the workspace where we are using our agent. So let's open the command line again, and here we will use the move to command. I'm going to type the language learning voice agent, and I will send this to the home. So now we have moved our voice memo. Now let's find it here in our home, and let's again move it to our lesson, and let's indent this inside our testing ground. And from here, we have already introduced the speaking practice super tag. Now we will add this speaking practice super tag to our voice memo. And here you will see that the multi-language transcribe command appears for us to use. And this is the command that we have already seen. We know that it's configured for both English and Italian. So let's expand this and let's run this multi-language transcribe. We see it's being processed, and here we see our output. So let's take a quick look at our capture here. We see Italian phrases, there are some English words, language, very beautiful, to take a trip. So it looks like it captured perfectly all of the words that we mentioned in Italian and the words that we mentioned in English. This final phrase was what I was mentioning when stopping the voice capture. So let's remove this. And from here, we can move on to our next step, which is to correct this speaking and see what are the words that we did not know in Italian, such that we had to use English instead. So let's take a quick look at this correct speaking command, which is using our familiar start AI chat command. And here we are calling our agent, the language tutor. We have personalized a greeting. And here in the initial prompt, we have briefly explained what we want. So we asked our agent to correct my Italian. Then we mentioned that the text is a mix between Italian and English. And here, this is the important part where we ask it to identify the words that were correctly used in Italian and to translate the words from English to Italian, marking them in bold. We are again sending over the context for this super tag, the speaking practice. And just as a reminder, you can type in the @ inside a prompt field. And from here, you can select the context, which is all the data from this current node. And this means we are sending over all of the information inside our speaking practice. So from here, we can run this correct speaking command and see what our agent can provide us as feedback. Here we go. Here in the chat, our agent is correcting our speaking practice. We can see a breakdown of sentence by sentence where it explains what were the mistakes in all of these sentences. And here our agent is going to make corrections to the Italian in case what we spoke in Italian is not correct. And it's also going to translate all of the words that we did not know in the target language. So here you can see they're always marked in bold with the exact translation of what were the words that we used in English and how to speak them in our target lesson. So we can explore this further. Here is the full corrected version with these English words replaced. So this is a great example of how we can use this combination between different languages inside this same voice memo and send them over to this agent to get a detailed output and analysis of our mistakes that can guide us to improve our speaking. And again, I want to make the invitation for you to think about these features that we used in this lesson, this combination of a voice memo with different languages, then calling an agent using this information, and think about how you could apply these features into other workflows that you might face in your work or in your life or in any other situation. So this wraps up this multi-language voice workflow example. And now I want to take a few moments to go through a recap of everything we've seen in this module. So let's use the V6 framework together with our agent configuration to remember all of the different features that we have covered. So we started with just a system prompt that was the version 1 of our agent. And this is this explanation of what we want from our language tutor with this introduction and these initial instructions. Then we added specific knowledge to our agent by listing the best practices that we want our language tutor to follow. Then we added commands inside our agents so that we can extract the vocabulary that we are learning for this specific agent. And then we have brought this information back into our agent with these searches that represent this dynamic and self-improving memory for our agent. So we've seen this example with the vocabs list and also with the common mistakes that we have made learning this language. Then we moved into applying voice processing to enhance our language learning experience. And you can remember that we did so by using voice memos to build vocabulary. Then we used audio fields to practice our reading in the target language. And now we have used these multi-language voice captures to practice our speaking of a new language. And this takes us to this final overview of everything that we've seen in this module. So we started with these voice features, then we created the basic agent with V1 and V2 of the framework. Then we improved that by adding the dynamic memory and the self-improvement functionality to our agent. Then we moved into using these voice features with our agents. And then we even covered how to create chains of commands so that we can work with commands, audio fields, and our agents all in a fluid sequence where these commands are constantly guiding us towards the next actions. So this is it for module 4 of this course. I hope you got a lot of value from these lessons, and I wish you a great learning experience on the next modules. Congratulations on finishing the Tana Commands Mastery course. I hope you enjoyed and learned a lot from these lessons. And if you have, I want to make a final invitation for you to check out the interactive learning kit for Tana Commands Mastery, where you will get access to these 4 different Tana templates with the lesson material for these 2 modules, with the different commands, agents, and configurations that you've seen in these lessons, as well as a fully functional version of the language learning agent so that you can practice any chosen language of your interest, and access to the Tana Commands knowledge base where you can see a list of all the system commands, parameters, triggers, command line commands, prompt variables, and Tana paste syntax instructions with the connections in between all of them, as well as a list of command drills to practice even further and check your answers in this Tana template. So as usual, you can learn more about this using the link in the description below or with the QR code that you see in your screen. And finally, I would also like to invite you to check out the Tana Voice Note Agent, which is a Tana system that I've built so that you can capture your insights and ideas using voice notes in Tana and then transform them into structured insights in Tana using several different AI commands and AI chats that are ready for you to use and even for you to edit and customize for your own specific situation and use cases. So I invite you to check this out as well. So this is a great opportunity for you to put into practice the knowledge that you've acquired with the Tana Commands Mastery by studying, editing, and enhancing the different commands and agents that you get access with the Tana voice note agent. So if that sounds interesting to you, you can check out the Tana voice note agent. The link's going to be in the description below. And that said, thanks for watching, and I'll see you around.